hoping that this one can be a bit closer, Aux.
Yeah, it was super cool hearing those insights. Obviously, as someone who's played a lot with Smash, being part of T1 and sort of talking about, you know, this is what he would have done in these situations, this is thought process, really enlightening us. And going into game 2, obviously some of the weight from the bans is kind of being freed up with that Rumble being taken away. T1 in his second pick position don't have to throw as many bans down now. Dealing with the Rumble, I think that's a big thing. If you let something powerful, that's one of those like Pimaban picks like the Rumble, if you let it open, other team gets it and you still win, it just relieves a lot of pressure. Probably the Jarvan now, just going to get similar bans, I guess.
Yeah, it feels pretty rough that for Dplus Kia, as first pick, they feel forced to ban Bard and Varus, which, you know, obviously you got to ban Bard against Keria, but it's a more common Bard, rather ban nowadays. But then the Varus from the first pick side feels like you could potentially utilize that and force the other team to ban it away, but they do not do that. As T1 a lot of thought into this one, and there's that Lee Sin with these two junglers makes a lot of sense.
It's interesting because I feel like that just really sets them up to say, we want you to pick Jarvan. You know, we're trimming the junglers. There's 4 junglers out of the pool already. Jarvan's already probably the highest prio jungler right now in the patch. So I feel like they've baited the trap effectively. Kind of similar to game 1 with the Rumble. They presented this really powerful pick. It's hard for Dplus not to take it, and then we get to see what T1's response would be. And it looks like instead Dplus will go, no, we're actually okay not having the job. We're going to prioritize a Lucian. Big pick for Smash. We've seen Lucian, Milio be really powerful. I wonder if T1 try and deny the Milio pairing, as obviously there's other picks you can pair it up with. I think that's been the strongest combo, even though obviously Lucian Nami still exists. I think Lucian Milio has by far been the most effective combo available now. And presumably they'll look to lock up the, I was going to say the Jarvan themselves, but they go straight for the Vi. One of that point and click CC for Lucian, and I guess the Jarvan impact isn't as relevant into the Lucian. Now, this is interesting, going the Kog'Maw here, because Kog'Maw Lulu is the pairing we all know and love. That's not available. And if you were going to go like Kog'Maw Milio, you'd need to grab the Milio, first and foremost. So instead they go for the Ezreal for Peyz, a pick that we've seen sometimes be successful, sometimes not. We've seen the potential of the pick on the current patch, but definitely the Ezreal Neeko has been struggling.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what that support ends up being. We do have Wadid here today, so hopefully it is Neeko for his enjoyment. Jarvan, still available, but you don't necessarily want to pick it into Ezreal, but still very strong by its own right. They're going to go for Milio first.
No, we saw a quick little hover of the Neferi, but Neferi was originally picked into the Vi, and I feel like this is a good angle for it. Rather than picking the Jarvan, which obviously can't do as much to the Ezreal, and you don't know the other picks on T1, you know, Faker could even grab himself something like the Azir, so there's not too much threat from the Cataclysm. I think the Neferi makes a lot of sense here. It would be a very aggressive composition, but it looks like they are just going to commit to the Jarvan, go for something more consistent, I guess. Less snowbally than the Neferi is. Yeah. And it is just going to be the Ezreal Neeko coming out from T1, to not too much surprise. I mean, Keria's had some great Neeko games recently. It's a pick where I feel like we've seen some support struggle to have that same level of lane impact on it recently. And as a result, that's why the Ezreal Neeko has kind of struggled. But I feel like Keria has just kind of elevated it to another level. I will say that Neeko into Jarvan doesn't feel the best because he can kind of just Cataclysm you, and when you're trying to go for an ult, or you're forced to ult so you don't die and he just flag and drags out. We've seen that combo a lot. Now, T1 ban away the Akali. I feel like Dplus are going to go for the Azir again, like they would have anyway, but with the Akali being banned, I think that just further emphasizes it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We had a pretty unique mid lane head-to-head for game 1, especially for a game 1. With the TF and the Sylas, there's still so much left in the mid lane. I mean, Azir, Aurora, Annie, Ryze, Anivia, Cassiopeia, lots of stuff. Nara going to be banned away, though.
Yeah, respecting the threat Doran had in the side lane later on, not want to deal with that potential on the Gnar. Also sets up, maybe they're leaning into a Renekton pickup. Could be what they're going for. And obviously we see the Gnar taking into that a lot. There is those other frustrating picks to play into Renekton, though, like the Vayne. And they go for the Jace ban, which honestly makes a lot of sense, given that Yorick has been taken away. You look at you give me a look.
No, that's fine. I get it.
I know you don't like Jace.
Yeah.
But
he's not a very nice guy.
I guess
Also, he's just not good at League of Legends right
you
now.
would have been able to take like Sion into it and would have been fine. There's that Azir ban coming through. And we'll see presumably T1 prioritizing a mid pick here.
You can go something like Ahri, has mobility to deal with the Jarvan. It's great with the Ahri and Vi combination. But you can get your charms cleansed potentially. He is just going to go ahead and pick Anivia and says, if you want to play Ryze, go ahead. Definitely a favorite of ShowMaker at the beginning of the LCK. As now maybe a blind Sion for DK.
I mean, Sion into this composition, he's very bulky. Ezreal can just hammer away Mystic shots and feel like you're just doing nothing. But Sion into Anivia feels really bad. I feel like executing Sion in team fights is a lot harder than a lot of people give credit to. Finding angles to set up your decimating smash. I just don't think you get those chances against Anivia. You can't ult away or ult in against her wall. It's a lot of control. It's a lot of power.
Also, blind picking it, I feel like, can be very dangerous. You took away Gnar. There is no Yorick, I guess, no Jace. But, like, there are a lot of other things that Doran can play, including Camille.
I think he kind of has free reign in this situation. I feel like a lot of our top laners would just pick a Renekton here. And that would be kind of the standard. But instead, going for the Ambessa. And there's a lot of dive threat in this T1 composition, playing into a short-ranged AD carry. And I know there's obviously the cleanse from the Milio, which is going to work against the Anivia, the Neeko, but it's not going to do anything against the Vi Ambessa. So I think it's going to make it tricky for Smash. ShowMaker on the Viktor as well. You can have a fine time into the Anivia generally, but you are a target. And that's another factor of going this Sion, is you put more emphasis on those two carries. You need Smash and the ShowMaker to be putting damage out, to be surviving these fights. And I think T1 just have so many ways of not letting that happen.
Yeah, I will mention that Ambessa currently 5-21, 19% win rate.
Wow.
Has been played quite a lot of games. I mean, 26 games, 5-21 so far at the LCK. And she also got her ult nerf. Now, the thing is, you do have Vi. And you have Neeko, and you have Anivia stun. So there's a lot of CC to set up the Ambessa, as you were kind of touching on. But she hasn't found a lot of success. And she also did get a little nerf. So we'll see how Doran pilots her here in game number 1.
Yeah, I think a lot of the picks T1 haven't been so successful recently. It's been a bit hit or miss at times. So, especially going into Sion, who's just been dominating Lucian Milio. Good struggle.
Now let's jump out of the rift for game number 2. All right, here we go. Match 59 and then match 60 later on today will be the home front for Kium DRX up against Home Life eSports, the second match over there in Vietnam.
So interestingly, we see Faker going for Electrocute. We've had a lot of Deathfire Touch in the mid lane. ShowMaker going for that, of course, on the Viktor. We'll see how that impacts some of these early trades. We've seen Lucian Milio be so strong, but I feel like lane is the point where it can be variable in strength. I do think in this matchup specifically, if you're avoiding these skill shots, you have a lot of burst trading power. And looking to get some damage down on Keria there.
That's an exhaust out of Peyz, by the way. They're going to force his barrier and also the heal, rather. So trading a lot of the secondary summoners here.
I feel like we've seen a shift back to that exhaust into Lucian sort of meta that we had when Lucian Nami was a big thing. If he dashes up to you and wants to unload his burst combo, compared to other AD carries that have more sustained damage, you just get a lot of value out of that exhaust. And you can see the poke coming down already has forced Smash and Keria under tower. Still level 1. And that Mystic.
Wow.
Like a curved around the minion.
Yeah. Faker does love to use the egg to be very aggressive and say, you can't kill me.
ShowMaker doesn't have an egg. And he's at the same HP as Faker right now, so definitely a little dangerous. Does have a ward that just spotted Oner at Raptors, so he has information there. I wonder, Oner could have an angle to sneak in and get a gank off mid if he looked for it, but I think he might just go for the full clear.
Yeah. See that Lucid is 5-0 on the Jarvan. A lot of success there, but not so much here. Smash getting bullied out of lane already. One root comes down, and Smash is not able to play the game.
I think this is the difference between an Ezreal Neeko with Peyz and Keria compared to other Ezreal Neekos we've seen. We've definitely had some of them really struggle. The skill shots haven't connected, the pressure hasn't been there. Particularly against enchanters, who can kind of sustain a good amount of your poke. If you're not reliably hitting it, it just gets negated by the shields of Milio, for example. But here, Peyz and Keria have been putting down the pain and really making Smash suffer.
Oner was spotted running into the jungle, obviously, there. Faker still trading aggressively, but it does look like ShowMaker was able to heal up a little bit.
That's one of the annoying things with the Deathfire touch. So I'm trying to recall, I'm just getting interrupted again and again and again. Does get a TP in now, though.
There's a lot of wards that are spotting Oner all around the map.
They did a good job of tracking him. Not letting the Vi necessarily get off some early ganks. Just throw a control ward down there, so we'll see if Lucid gets spotted on that later. Gets spotted there by Oner. By Doran, sorry.
Nice trade here from Smash. It's kind of what you have to do. You can't just sit back and get poked out by Ezreal Neeko and kind of just lose the lane that way. And he's not really that far behind in terms of CS. It looks like he is down about a wave once Peyz does pick this one up, but you know, able to get a longsword, able to do a bit more damage here in the lane. Certainly going to help out.
Yeah, and Keria went for a confident buy with the Amp Tome. Didn't get a refillable, so is forced to reset here. And is now looking for a play mid. They've spotted Lucid. Hard to punish a Jarvan in this situation, though.
Yeah, just a bit of punching each other. Hey, I used that emote.
The Mundo one?
Yeah, with the two little batons? I don't even really know what he's holding.
Well, I'm sure we'll see it again.
You would think they would be cleavers, but...
I'm sure we'll see it again during this game. And we can assess it.
Some of our players like to emote more than others.
I do love the Canyon with the scared Yuumi. We've seen a good amount. That's been a bit of classic.
Or Rich with the sad Bumblebee. Bit of a public execute here up in the top side, but mostly just trading under right outside the turret as the ult comes out from Siwoo, but the dashes of the Ambessa get away from that. Siwoo is still getting in there. The shield does a ton of damage. Flash has to be used by Doran. And once again, the Ambessa not finding too much luck early on.
Yeah, and that's considering Doran had more item, like gold value in his inventory. It's a Coldfields against Bramble Vest. Obviously, the Bramble Vest great in this matchup, but not really a good omen. Obviously, we see Ambessa really spike on that one item, but Siwoo just doing a good job of soaking up the damage, being ready with the shield, and able to turn the trade around.
Lucid not very much enjoying the Anivia, but that's going to be the Storm coming in, and now Faker is going for a bit of a walk here in the enemy jungle.
He's not where he wants to be.
Yeah, also Anivia doesn't walk, Valdes. That was stupid. Faker flapping his wings, flying through the enemy jungle. Still flying through the enemy base.
He's wasting a lot of time.
He's getting to Oner.
Yeah.
I think he lives.
There's no ult from Siwoo. Recall here. Oh, he
Lucid!
Oh, no.
No! There's a Vi there.
Faker had no mana after that, so...
Meanwhile, Siwoo is here. That's going to be the smash that does come down onto Oner. And a back is coming in from Faker. He is going to go into Egg for sure. And I think even after all the shenanigans, the Anivia Faker will not survive. First blood does go over to Lucid. after whatever that was.
That was a very extended passage of play, and ShowMaker pulling ahead in the lane as well because he, you know, was just mid-farming in comparison. But a big chase that does eventually get rewarded with not only the kill on Faker, but the egg. He does save Flash, though. So that's something. Yeah, a bit chaotic.
Yeah, just that weird play. And the Skull Crab doesn't look like it was taken down there on the bottom side of the map. Unless we did have a respawn. But no Drake going to be coming in here.
I feel like we've had so many ebb and flows in this bot lane. I mean, not actually because Nami's not here, but in terms of the momentum. Keria get chunked out heavily here. I think it just shows how volatile this matchup can be. Oner now looking for Lucid.
I mean, Lucid could maybe try to smite that and get away, but he's not going to stick around. There's no pry on mid, none in bot. And Oner says, you know what? I'll take the dragon too.
Yeah, I just don't think you want to get stuck in melee range against a Vi. Especially as the bot lane had prio, Faker's moving as well. They have complete control in this area. So it should be a pretty free pickup of this dragon.
Yeah, kind of just picking that one up without a hitch. We do have Ocean Drake on the way next. Keria is just being annoying, trying to stop backs and all that. Doran seems like he's doing just fine up in the top side. Yes, he did have to flash, but he's almost got that back. And Ambessa, before her first item, not exactly super strong anyways, so eventually he'll get there.
Yeah. Obviously, we've seen Keria.
Okay. Pop Blossom as Keria kind of gets baited into a wonky spot. Flash available for Smash. Thinking maybe, you know, Keria kind of with the weird play. Maybe he's baiting or something there. Just going to hold on to it.
Yeah, Keria just really baited that one out. And I think Keria was just thinking... We've seen so many supports die trying to hold waves. It's been kind of a common trait of some of our LCK supports. But using it there to bait in Keria, getting the flash from him and the ultimate. That's been a good spot. Do you see... Oh,
ShowMaker in a bit of trouble. There is the extension on the stun. But at the end of the day, it's just a ton of damage going into Oner. And a bit of help from Keria means that ShowMaker is totally safe.
I think just overestimating the damage. Keria being there was a phenomenal roam timing to show up. But also you look at the inventories of Oner and Faker. Faker actually has 0 AP apart from the Doran's ring. Like he's got 18 AP. He's just all mana and health. And I know that Anivia has decent base damages, but it's just not enough to cut through the Viktor. And Oner had to commit so heavily just to reach ShowMaker. So just a bit of an over-aggressive play. We'll see the replay here.
미드 본다. 봐줘.
Help.
잡고.
Got him.
The flash being instant to get under tower. And it's the fact that Oner, by queuing in and then ulting, you're not getting your Q damage down. So, was already under tower when he connected on a ShowMaker. And ShowMaker with a good response. Unfortunately, bot lane still suffering for Dplus.
Yeah, this is definitely a lot bigger of a lead than we've seen from Ezreal Neekos.
I think Did's going to apologize.
No, I don't think so.
To Ezreal and or Neeko.
Watching the replay on the trade in top lane.
Yeah, it looks like Doran had to flash again. Does now have the Eclipse, which obviously is a big spike, but struggling into Siwoo Sion. Which is impressive considering, I feel like for a good time early on in Siwoo's career in the LCK, he really struggled on tanks. It felt like they were putting him on him and he just couldn't make them work well, but definitely feel like he's been building up his repertoire of tanks he can play comfortably, and Sion is looking good right now.
Yeah, I mean, Sion is just going to stand there, and we'll see what kind of engages and stuff he can do later on in the game. Doran gets that Eclipse, and it's making life a little bit more annoying for Siwoo. And now Lucid actually engaging here, but Oner wants to continue on this as there's the gravity field, and there's the Cataclysm flash, but Lucid is going to be kept around as now the flash comes forward, but the
nice buffer.
Buffer is perfect from Lucid.
Yeah, Siwoo committing heavily. Oh, Peyz could be in trouble.
He's going to find the bot lane here. Keria is on the way, but the culling is going to be thrown out. Smash is like, yeah, I'm not so sure about going into that river.
Some good exhaust value from Peyz. I think Smash was waiting for Peyz to commit some more mobility before he used the culling, but thought I'll just send it. Gets exhausted, isn't able to do that much more. I think the mid play was a bit weird though. Lucid committing very heavily when it was like, well, of course Anivia is going to move there, and then you're going to struggle to get out.
Yeah, Faker still not doing damage. It feels like he goes for these trades and he deals damage to himself.
I mean, this is a very slow scaling Anivia build. This is like,
yeah,
I'm going to have infinite mana, and eventually I'm going to be strong. But you just don't have as much early pressure. It is 18 AP and no magic pen.
Okay, well, Doran trying to buffer his way out of that one. Does get the plate for all of his trouble. And again, not really a lot of, yeah, that barrier's not going to get him on his back. Meanwhile, once again, we're trading up here in the top lane. There's another smash. I mean, Siwoo has flash advantage, could look for it, but not going to force it.
Yeah, I think a bit too much health in Doran and cooldown's coming back up. Okay, they get the recall off, actually, this time. And Smash gets Essence Reaver, which is honestly big for the Lucian, because I feel like so often you're gated by your mana. No longer going to be a problem. More likely going to be gated by your health after you get hit by 17 skill shots in a row.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Peyz and Keria kind of been on fire here. Now, Lucid tries to go for the smite steal there. Does make his way in, but isn't able to find it.
And it's a Chemtech Soul again. Game 1, I think it was fine. You know, we had a Seraphine. Not that the Seraphine was able to really get any value out of that. Peyz going to find himself face-to-face with Lucid. But Lucid kind of just walks it off.
I mean, Chemtech Soul with a Sion would be kind of crazy. Ambessa as well. But yeah, it's no Hextech. Smash getting some good damage on this tower. Now seeing it's Dplus' bot lane who have the pressure here. And I feel like, you know, top lane, Siwoo's been doing a great job. Mid lane, ShowMaker's had the pressure advantage. Bot lane has been Peyz and Keria. But it feels like Smash is trying to turn around, find the opportunity to do so. Once again, we get Keria recalling and walking up towards the top side. But no one really there as of yet for him to support. Just getting some vision down. And does find Keria very aggressively in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, some deep wardage there. But able to utilize the blast cone to get out after putting down some vision. And T1 very aggressively started up the Rift Herald in Game 1. They're going to do it again here in Game 2. Let's see if DK wants to get there on time. They're going to have this info much earlier compared to Game 1.
So they're moving Siwoo down. I think if they really wanted to contest it, they could have brought him up. Given that Doran just TP'd, but they're going to go for a 4v4. And they do force Keria out. Flash gone already. Makes it definitely tricky to contest. Some good damage there onto Peyz. He does answer back though.
Yeah, it's very aggressively taking over that position on the Rift Herald, so it does mean that T1 has to back away from the objective.
I think both teams just kind of feeling each other out in this one.
And now here we go once again. Faker is going to beat this one in, but Lucid is here as well. And again, Oner in a bit of trouble, has to flash away, and now he's in the Cataclysm with no help from his side. Keria also comes up here. They're going to try to take down this Neeko, but he's in the storm. Lucid will get flashed on and taken down as now ShowMaker goes in for the trade as the Milio comes over and keeps him alive.
Does he have the damage?
I think just barely not, as
oh, the stun!
Stun comes in, and that is going to get the job done. Very nicely played by ShowMaker, and Career again.
So well played from ShowMaker there to put down the stun as the Anivia was going to come back from the egg to get the timing to get the last kill. And he is just possessed right now on this pick, getting so much damage down across that fight. The Deathfire Touch and the Blackfire Torch combo just burning all of T1 who try to contest him. It was a bit of a weird setup from T1. You know, you saw the logic behind the initial play from Oner, but the damage, the follow-up just wasn't really there, and then Keria kind of just face-checked. They will try and set up on this Herald now, though, banking on the recall timers off Dplus. We do see them move over to respond. Remember, no flashes on Oner or Keria.
Yeah, this seems very aggressive from the side of T1. I'm not sure if you get away with this, but they are going to find Keria, who is now basically not a champion. Oner going to get the Rift Herald kill. Did not get the eye just yet. Siwoo trying to frontline here. It looks like T1, they're just going to not get the eye.
They can't approach. And Siwoo is so tanky already. Oh, Doran's going for it.
Yeah, and he might just be able to dash his way in. And one more dash. There it is. Picks it up, uses it immediately. Trying to get into the action Herald. It's going to miss the ult, but now Lucid in an awkward spot. And both the junglers are going to hit the ground. Doran is going to hop into this one, but now Smash going to get knocked up by the Rift Herald, who is just spinning around and getting so much value on those knockups. It's insane. And the Ambessa is running wild in the back line. As ShowMaker now all alone, trying to just poke out Peyz and Keria. And even Doran now getting pretty low. Siwoo at least able to get that kill, but a stun lands on a ShowMaker. And the engage code comes out from Neeko from Keria. And it's going to turn it in favor of T1.
T1 just pulling magic out of nowhere with that team fight that honestly it felt like they had no right really to win. Down a lot of summoners, ShowMaker being so strong, Dplus having control of the area. And I mean, the big factors here, the biggest factor is honestly just Doran. He goes for this crazy play to pick up the eye that honestly just seemed a bit suicidal. It was like, surely he's going to go down here, but his plan was obviously the combat Herald. But they get chunked out heavily. Oner ends up dying before the Herald even gets played. But like, the value that Doran ends up getting, he doesn't initially grab the Herald. He actually waits till it, looks for the ult, doesn't connect. But then here, goes into it, and he knocks Smash
so
up.
Silly.
So he gets Smash, then he gets Sion, then he gets Milio, then he gets Smash again. He hits him twice and then just instantly cleans up the bot lane. Which did so much for T1 in this fight.
아, 나 죽었다.
I'm dead.
볼만한데? 좋다.
I think you guys can win.
And the timing
나이스.
from
나이스.
Keria.
캐리어.
The timing from Keria on the ult from the blast cone was just perfect. You can even see like the animation didn't line up.
Oh, Lucid trying to start something here on a Keria, but more members of T1 than he expected. But here comes Smash doing a bunch of damage to Oner. In a lot of trouble, but actually Peyz able to get the kill onto the Jarvan. So it feels like the junglers in this game are really eating the brunt of a lot of these deaths. 7 between the two of them.
Yeah, and Keria he has Flash now. Did he have Flash at the start of that play? Because it just seems kind of crazy. They committed so heavily to him. If he hadn't out that whole time, doesn't opt to use it, saves that summoner spell. Yeah, his Flash is up. So this seems super aggressive to commit this play when Keria can just quite comfortably disengage. They end up turning onto Oner, who is flashless, but they just take so much damage in return for Peyz over the wall. Very aggressive from Dplus. It kind of feels like they're in this position where they're starting to fall behind again. You know, thinking about how they've already lost game 1 and they feel the pressure to make proactive plays.
See a pretty massive gold lead here for Doran, who, you know, you got that first item now, he has second item Black Cleaver, so definitely gonna make life hard for Siwoo eventually in this lane. But also picked up a couple of those kills in that last fight, on top of getting a bunch of plates, so very far ahead in terms of gold. T1 looking for Chemtech Soul points. Just right now, Lucid is already chunked out a little bit. Culling comes down and a bit of a zoning wall is there. Lucid could have tried to walk forward, but not going to quite get it, as Ambessa in a lot of trouble here. But there's Keria with the 3-man knockup, and Doran is going to survive. They get into the back line. Career getting pretty low. Peyz takes him out. Peyz jumps forward into 3 and is going to have to flash away. Siwoo not quite able to land the decimating smash, and DK not really able to pick up more off of the back of this play.
Yeah, T1 playing that very aggressively, and I think Doran and Peyz nearly paying. Oh,
I mean, there are a lot of members there. Faker says, well, I have egg, but he doesn't have it anymore. And that's a shutdown that's given over to Smash.
now he has omelet, I guess. Dplus gonna try and take this mid lane tower. Will succeed at it. I think T1 kind of dropping the ball there. They get the dragon, which is big. I mean, a Chemtech Soul in this Fed Ambessa would feel insane. But I think just sticking around for a bit too long afterwards, and a lot of people being very over-aggressive. This fight doesn't start off particularly well for T1 because Doran ends up kind of getting focused down quite heavily. You know, he TP's in, gets Cataclysmed on the stun, and then just loses all of his HP. And even though he lives, you've just lost a large element of your team fighting prowess because Doran can't really re-enter. You know, we see Oner going super deep, gets taken down. Peyz goes super aggressive, has to back away. And then this is where it gets a bit weird because Faker is looking for Lucid here. But against like a Lucian and a Viktor who have high enough range just to immediately reach you, that play felt very dangerous.
Yeah, and he found out why very quickly after that.
I think maybe if you flash the Jarvan combo and like just kill him after that, that could have been the angle he was going for. But I think as soon as you get knocked up, you're just dead.
Yeah, perhaps a mistiming on the play. Either way, the rest of the team was backing away, and he was kind of just going in there trying to take down Lucid, who was low. So not really a good play at the end of the day. Peyz very fed, though. Does look like Smash is really trying to pressure him as much as possible. Peyz getting cullinged out of this one, and the chase is on. Peyz taking down another shutdown here for Smash, who is very rich in this game.
This is what Lucian does just so well, is pushing up mid lane with the backup of your, whether it's your Nami or your Milio, and anyone who tries to challenge you on the wave is under threat.
It's going to be a nice little test for ShowMaker to see if he can get out, but does have a lot of help from his teammates. Flash comes out of Doran as he's looking for that kill still. And Faker does TP over. The rest of the T1 is trying to group up here, and Doran surviving for so long in this fight as he eventually, with the help of Faker, will be able to take out Lucid finally in this one.
Just feels like Dplus are struggling really hard to cut through Doran right now. He's so bulky, so much survivability. ShowMaker even gets a great Rocket Belt usage. You know, there's been a lot of talk about Rocket Belt perhaps being overbought in some champions, but I think this was definitely a spot where ShowMaker got the value, and a game where having that Rocket Belt goes a long way. This is when Smash put out Peyz. You know, Peyz sees Lucid, so he has to angle downwards and just ends up getting jumped, especially with the flash from Smash. Now here, ShowMaker's dodge onto the public execution, pretty great, but still just struggling to cut through Doran. This extended play, they don't have that much damage. I feel like having the Lucian there would have made a lot of difference, but he only arrives kind of after the fact and is able to put some damage in a Faker, but that's really his only contribution.
Yeah, doesn't end up doing a whole lot. We've had a bunch of kills in this one. Already up to 21.
Think about how strong the Ambessa, how tanky she's been. It's a minute until potential Chemtech Soul. I feel like that may be a substantial issue if you want to able to get it. Also, interestingly, we have the Gluttonous Greaves from both Smash and Peyz.
Not glutinous.
No,
gluten-free?
These are the gluten-free versions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Gluten-free Greaves coming through from Peyz and Smash for that extra Omnivamp. I wonder how many stacks they've both got. I imagine Smash will be pretty close to having them capped out.
Yeah. And we're really just doing a lot of posturing here for this Chemtech Soul as we're flashing right onto Smash. The follow-up is there from the side of Keria, but where's the damage? As finally a bit comes out from the side of Faker, and Lucid takes an E to the back. As Doran gets in front of that, and also there's the Anivia wall, so she was like, man, why am I playing Sion? The public execution does come in, as Siwoo is taking a beating, but that is just a Sion. ShowMaker trying to make a big difference here, but he's kind of all alone in terms of damage, and he just explodes in under a second. And the damage out of Peyz right now is insane. Gonna pick up another one. A zombie Sion can do all he wants, but it's just going to be T1 winning the fight, and they get the Chemtech Soul.
And this is why T1 went for this sort of composition. Oner, he might be 0-6-7, but he ults in onto this short-range AD carry, and he does his job. He will go down, but he sets up Keria for the follow-up. They explode Smash before he really gets a chance to contribute. Peyz even gets that cleanup onto the Jarvan, and then the blocking on... This is why it feels so frustrating to play Sion into Anivia. Doran's also just too hard to kill. This is one of the issues with this composition from Dplus, is that you only have 2 carries. When one of them dies, ShowMaker's trying to do everything he can, but they just put all their focus onto him.
Yeah.
And he can't 1v4.
And in an even game, when you're playing against Vi, and Neeko, and one of your carries just gets blown up like that. Like, if T1 ever get a good setup on a fight, that's what they're going to try to do every time. It just feels like kind of a done deal from that Vi pick. And that is going to be Chemtech Soul. So they already couldn't kill Doran. Now he has Death's Dance and Chemtech Soul. So...
Oh man, that's...
You're never killing him.
That's ungodly.
Unless he's way out of position and you have a lot of time and the rest of the team doesn't come over.
I think Death's Dance is the item I've seen people complaining about the most recently. Even though it's not been changed, really, and we've had all these new items and items reworked and things changed, and everyone was like, oh, Static Shiv's going to be super broken, and then it hasn't been. Death's Dance I've just seen like a reliable group of people being like, man, I hate this item. And you know what? I get it. I feel like we're about to see that on display when Doran dives into 5 members of Dplus and they just cannot kill him.
Yeah.
That feels like the state of the game right now. We do see Smash working towards his presumably LDR. I mean, honestly, could be Mortal Reminder with the amount of healing that is going to come through from Doran. But Doran is level 18, by the way, as well.
Yeah. And you can go to level 20 now. So he's got some more room on top of that. See level 17 here. And they're going to engage onto Ambessa. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work, guys. I don't think that's the play. The Cataclysm and Culling is used. And T1 just says no.
Yeah. I guess we're maybe just trying to fish for something. Maybe try and force Doran's flash in that situation. But ultimately, don't really get anything from it. Nothing really huge to play for right now on the back of those cooldowns. But with Eldarin closing in on 4 minutes, a little bit less than, definitely a concern. Smash picks up the Mortal Reminder. So 4-item Lucian is strong, to be fair. But him being able to survive and function these team fights is the concern, especially because ShowMaker has picked up a Seeker's Arm Guard. And they were already focusing Smash.
Yeah.
But now, you know, the effect of the Seeker's Arm Guard is they're definitely going to be ulting Smash. So, have fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of pressure on Smash. You know, his boy Reckless is here watching. And besides that, he's playing against one of the best bottom lane duos. And he's kind of...
I'm playing against his old team.
Yeah, his old team. He has so much of the onus to try to carry this game and try to survive. He is going to get flanked and ulted and blown up immediately from 60% health. And just like that, I mean, ShowMaker's also low. Like, you just can't do anything. Doran has a gigantic shield from the TP. And I don't think they're even going to get through that. I just don't see it happening. As the flash comes in, ShowMaker able to rocket belt over the right side. And that at least is going to get him to safety. But it just feels like DK don't have an answer. They're not even that far behind on gold. It just doesn't matter.
The setups from T1, the target selection onto Smash, doesn't get to play the game, doesn't get to press his summoners, just gets exploded. And you lose that Lucian. That, honestly, very strong Lucian. 4 items. You just don't get to play the game. ShowMaker can't do enough. He is fed, he is strong in his own rights, but can he kill 5 members of T1, including this incredibly hard to deal with Ambessa? Well, the answer is definitely no. And I think, even though it's not a major gold lead, with how these fights have been going, it just seems so hard.
Yeah.
This is a great angle from Keria looping in from behind. The TP coming through as well. Ult on a Smash, Pop Blossom. The ult from the Ezreal does so much damage as well. Yeah, bit of a tough one. And then Doran's health bar just doesn't move, if we're being real. The only thing that moves is the amount of shields he has.
Yeah.
That fluctuates.
And it's, you know, it's not even to the point where he's below 50% health. It's kind of ridiculous. And probably going for GA next here with that BF sword. And yeah, T1, I mean, again, you know, we talked about the gold lead. The gold number doesn't matter. The Chemtech Soul, the last couple of team fights really just shows how DK don't have a way to play this game. You know, maybe if they were a little bit farther ahead and they were able to poke them out with the culling and, you know, they had a bit more vision coverage so they're not getting flanked by a Neeko, perhaps. But that's not the way this game has been playing out.
Yeah, it feels really hard to keep tabs on members of T1. Keria has been doing a great job of finding angles to get behind, so when the Vial comes in, he's just always there to follow up. But that's what Dplus have to do. I mean, the gold lead isn't insane, and as much as Chemtech Soul is very good with the Ambessa, it's not the strongest soul in the game. This game isn't unwinnable, especially because Elder's on the cards. The problem is they don't have control of the Elder area. They now have to push in aggressively to contest, and when you push in quickly and aggressively, it sets up flanks to happen. Now, they are looking for Oner here.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of damage done to Peyz and Oner. Oner has to flash away, so that's potential engage button taken away with the flash at least. Doran says, well, I'm going to get some revenge as they're trying to kill him. That's going to be the miss on the ult here, and Doran just kind of walks it off. Here comes the Sion. Doran this time will be forced to flash away, gets a big shield, goes back in on a smash, and eventually they finally get him. Both top laners are taken out in the trade.
This is big for Dplus. T1 don't get their consistent engage. We've seen them find a recall stop as well. Baker trying to get back in with the TP, and now Dplus are the ones who control this area. They're looking for more. They want to try and find Vi, but Keria once again is flanking round behind. They've spotted him.
Yeah, they're going to find him. No Cataclysm, though, for Lucid, so that's kind of unfortunate. That would have been a big pick to at least get him down. His flash is not up, so could have been big.
I feel like they had the presence they needed, and they've just been pushed out again really quickly. They can't give this up, though. They need to push back in. Both top laners have TP and the ability to rejoin once they respawn. But that Elder Dragon is being cut down quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they have to get in here. Lucid, he looks like he is going to be the one that goes in, but the turn comes out from Keria. They ult on a smash, and again, he just dies, trades his life for the Neeko, and the damage is just way too much out of Peyz. Goes forward after Lucid goes in, and is just able to clean everybody up. Gonna get the GA out of Lucid. And both the carries are down. So at the end of the day, Siwoo is just left by his lonesome. It'll take a while to go down, but T1 will clean up the fight and look to push to end.
You know, I feel like the highlight of this series has been Doran, but the coordinated engages from Keria and Oner have just kind of been spectacular. Oner, who, you know, his KDA wasn't looking so pretty before, but he's doing his job every time. It's like Oner engages and Keria's there to follow, or Keria engages and Oner's there to follow, and the end result is Smash doesn't get to play the game.
Yeah, Lucid trying to clear the wave. He actually does do a good job of that, but he is, of course, going to die. And there was one cannon minion, actually, that did survive, so not the best job he could have done, I suppose. As Faker is going to zone away Smash. Smash hops over the wall, and they will just attack the Nexus and take it down. It's a clean 2-0 from T1 tonight as they get revenge against Dplus Kia.
And I feel like we're kind of following that trend of 2-0s, but I think T1, honestly, have been a bit of a culprit of ensuring that, because